What's going on YouTube? Bendable Straws back with another Envoy exclusive video for you guys today. We're going to be going over the Vigilante team consisting of Hitmonkey, a modern Daredevil, Silver Sable, and reworks to Punisher and Elektra. Without further ado, everybody, let's get started. No capes, no rules, no mercy. The Vigilantes. They don't carry badges, and local law enforcement has orders to arrest them on sight, but you won't find a tougher and braver bunch to knock down threats than the Vigilante team. This squad of lethal crime fighters is composed of Daredevil Modern, Silver Sable, and the community vote winner Hitmonkey, along with familiar faces like Punisher and Elektra. The Vigilante team thrives in offensive situations and is specifically setting their sights and senses on skill raids. There'll be a key squad in the new upcoming raid, which will have more information on an upcoming blog. Today we're covering the capabilities of this ferocious and efficient crew. The vulnerable mechanic is getting a little bit of love. Vulnerable now with even more benefits. Enemies with vulnerable have always been victim to increased damage and attacks, but with the Vigilante team, vulnerable becomes an even greater strategic advantage. The new Vigilante recruits not only make enemies with vulnerable pay, but reward their allies for pasting the battlefield with it. Daredevil Modern will heal himself and Vigilante allies whenever an enemy with vulnerable is attacked. Even more so in raids. He also lowers the damage of enemies with vulnerable when he's on offense. Wow. Silver Sable. When an enemy with vulnerable is attacked, she fills a speed bar for herself and Vigilante allies. So you got to be careful with these new characters that are coming out, stopping speed bar and all that nonsense. And Hitmonkey is whenever an enemy with vulnerable takes a turn. If his health is full, he attacks the enemy with the highest health, ignoring taunt and stealth for piercing, and then applies more vulnerable. He also gains crit damage if any enemy has vulnerable, and for each enemy that has vulnerable, he gains crit chance. So he's probably definitely going to be a raider for sure. It seems like Daredevil will probably be a striker because he's already healing anyway. It's going to be really nice. And I could see Silver Sable being a raider or a healer or something like that. Just to have two healers on the team. The new recruits apply plenty of vulnerable outside of ISO 8's help, and the team as a whole can make attacks extra painful with vulnerable hanging over a target's head. The offensive machines. Even though the Vigilantes are a skill raid team, very explicit with that, let me tell you. Their traits and kits set them up to pound enemies while on offense across game modes. Offensive bonuses. Both Daredevil, Modern, and Silver Sable have offensive bonuses that reduce enemy potency. Not necessarily sure what that means. Taunt and Terrorize. The Man Without Fear, Daredevil Modern, absorbs enemy attacks with taunts via his special, ultimate, and passive abilities, while the rest of his team utilize multi-target attacks to mow down raid waves and clobber teams. Hitmonkey allows the squad to reload quickly by dishing out ability energy when enemies are eliminated. So they got a battery too, sheesh. Starting off with Daredevil Modern. Daredevil Modern is a hero city skill protector vigilante with a speed of 118. His basic is Assault and Battery. Attack primary target for 280% damage. Rebound chain to 2 adjacent targets for 280% damage. Flip 3 negative effects to positive effects on self and all Vigilante allies. Absolutely a striker. Easy. The easiest striker I've ever seen in Marvel Strike Force right there. Alright, moving on to the Special Law and Order. Energy cost is 4 of 4. Apply slow for 2 turns, defense down for 2 turns, and offense down for 2 turns to the primary target. Attack the primary target for 300% damage, and then bonus attack the primary target for 300% damage. And then do a striker ISO attack on that. That's going to be great. In raids, flip all negative effects into positive effects on self and all vigilante allies. Heal self and all vigilante allies for 15% of this character's max health. Gain taunt for 2 turns and defense up for 2 turns. Alright. Off of a special, wow. Daredevil's ultimate is Witness Protection. Energy cost 4 of 6. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 380% damage. Apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5. Clear all negative effects from self and all allies. Gain taunt for 2 turns. Apply defense up for 2 turns and immunity for 2 turns to self and all vigilante allies. So that's going to be on a later turn. If they start getting wins on enemies, then they're going to start just flushing out battery. Heal self and all vigilante allies for 20% of this character's max health. Alright. The ultimate's not too crazy, but it keeps the attention on Daredevil for sure. The passive is Born Again on spawn. If this character has 4 or more vigilante allies, gain taunt for 2 turns and safeguard for 1 turn. Wow. Safeguard taunt. Nice. Apply 2 deflect and defense up for 2 turns and immunity for 1 turn to self and all vigilante allies. So on spawn, taunt, safeguard, defense up, deflect, and immunity for this Daredevil. Wow. When an enemy with vulnerables is attacked, heal self and all vigilante allies for 5% of this character's max health. In raids, heal for 20% instead. Clear 1 negative effect from self and all vigilante allies. Vigilante allies gain 100% accuracy. Love that. Love that right there. Wow. That's not tied to raids. That's not nothing. Incredible. Gain 25% block chance per vigilante ally. So that's a 100% block chance. Gain 15% block amount per vigilante ally. If this character has 4 or more vigilante allies, this character and all vigilante allies cannot gain bleed. Pretty effective against Old Man Logan's, because it messes with his speed stat. On offense, if this character has 4 or more vigilante allies, lower the damage of enemies with vulnerable by 30%. This will not stack with other effects such as offense down. Wow. That's incredible. Alright. Moving on to Silver Sable. Silver Sable is a hero city skill blaster mercenary. Spider-Verse vigilante. Wow. Speed is 128. The basic is point blank. Attack primary target for 310% damage. Flip 3 positive effects into negative effects. Might have another striker here, y'all. And the ISO 8 counter attack assist is attack primary target for 264% damage, 17% piercing, and flip 3 positive effects into negative effects. The special is Insertion Protocol. Energy cost of 5/5. In raids, clear barrier from all enemies. Flip all positive effects into negative effects on primary and adjacent targets. So we'll have to see if that's skirmisher level material right there. If they get any focus. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 280% damage, apply slow, and 2 bleed. What is your speed? Oh, you're going first. You definitely might be a raider. Or a striker, just depending if they apply vulnerables to people. Alright. The ultimate is Flash and Clear. Energy cost of 6/6. Apply heal block for 2 turns and disruptive for 2 turns to all enemies. Clear barrier from all enemies. Wow. In raids, clear charged from all enemies. On offense, if this character has 4 more vigilante allies, reduce the duration of all positive effects on 2 by all enemies. Okay. And that's it's not a arrow, so I'm wondering if that's just an offensive thing for vigilante. That'll be cool. Attack all enemies for 320% damage and apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5. In raids, apply trauma for 2 turns to all enemies. Apply ability block for 2 turns to 2 random support enemies. This attack gains 500% extra focus and cannot be counterattacked. That's a turn 1 thing, so she may not have to be Or Silver Sable may not have to be a skirmisher after all. Could be a definite raider with that. The passive is Silver Merc. In raids on spawn, fill speed bar for self by 15% and by 5% speed bar per vigilante ally for self and all vigilante allies. Ugh. When an enemy that has vulnerable is attacked, wow. What? Fill speed bar by 15% for self and all vigilante allies. Wow. And this is only in raids, thank goodness. On successful attack by this character, apply defense down to each attack target, okay? On offense, while this character has 4 more vigilante allies, lower the enemy dodge chance by 100%, okay? And if this character has 4 more vigilante allies, enemies cannot gain death proof, okay? It's pretty nuts. That is pretty nuts. So Silver Sable is going to be the speed of the team. And Daredevil is going to be the heals, essentially. Hit Monkey, last but not least, is a hero, city, skill, blaster, vigilante. From my understanding, these are all city characters that could be used for the path to Professor X. Speed of 127. The basic is Macaque Attack. Attack primary target for 300% damage and apply bleed for 2 turns. If this character has 4 or more vigilante allies, prolong the duration of all negative effects by 1 up to a maximum of 3. Wow. Does not say that that excludes trauma, stun. Oh my goodness, that's great. I wonder if they're gonna put that line of text in there. And the ISO 8 counterattack assist is just 2 different percents there, as the same as the 4 more vigilante allies, and that is outside of raids. The special is Monkeying Around. Energy cost 4/4. Attack primary target for 250% damage. Apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5. Prolong the duration of all negative effects by 1 up to a maximum of 3. Wow. Chain to 4 targets within 2 spaces of the previous target for 250% damage. Apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5 and prolong the duration of all negative effects by 1 up to... Wow, that's going to be crazy. This attack gains 25% crit damage against targets that have vulnerable. Instant Raider. Counterattack does not break this chain. So it seems like Silver Sable and Hitmonkey are both going to be the Raiders. The ultimate is Assassin Ape. Energy cost 6/6. Attack primary target for 300% piercing. Apply stun for 1 turn and trauma for 2 turns. That's outside of raids. That's a trauma stun. That's nuts. And he's fast at 127. Bonus attack the enemy with the highest damage, ignoring taunt and stealth for 300% piercing. In raids, applies stun for 1 turn and trauma for 2 turns. Nice. Apply speed up for 1 turn and offense up for 2 turns to self and all vigilante allies. Wow. Gain 1000% extra focus for this attack. Definitely Raider. Definitely a Raider. The passive is Saru Assassin. On turn or on any enemy with vulnerable turn, if this character's health is full, attack the enemy with the highest health, ignoring taunt and stealth for 200% piercing. Apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5. If this character's health is not full, heal self for 10% of this character's max health. And on enemy death, generate 1 ability energy for self. Wow. So do not leave Greg's for this team, because that is all outside of raids. In raids, generate 1 ability energy for all vigilante allies. While any enemy has vulnerable, gain 25% crit damage. For each enemy that has vulnerable, gain 5% crit chance up to a maximum of 25. So, okay. He's going to be breaking the charts, essentially, with Raider. If this character has 4 more vigilante allies, non-mythic enemies cannot have their speed increase. That's not in raids. Really, really cool. So, wow. That's going to be really good. Moving on to the reworks. Punisher is getting some stat increases by a lot of health. Health stat by 729, damage stat by 392, armor stat by 400%, focus stat by 602%, resist stat by 557, speed stat to 115. Interesting that they moved the speed stat. So he's going last. He's definitely going last. Alright, the new basic is attack primary target for 260% piercing and chain to 2 adjacent targets for 260% piercing. I'm excited to see what his passive is going to be. The new special is grenade launcher. Transfer 3 positive effects excluding taunt from primary target to self. All vigilante allies and all military allies. That's okay, that's outside of raids. Cool. Attack primary target for 260% piercing and all adjacent enemies for 260% piercing. Alright, the ultimate is fully loaded. If this character has 4 or more vigilante allies, clear barrier from all enemies. Wow, and they baked in the damage. And attack primary target for 250% piercing and attack all enemies for 250% piercing. The passive is what I want to know. Alright, passive is lock and load. When an enemy attacks a vigilante ally, if this character has 4 or more vigilante allies, attack that enemy for 125% piercing. When a vigilante or defender ally uses their special ability, attack the most injured enemy for 125% piercing. Okay. On hit, apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5. So he doesn't even need to be a raider. He can... Does that give himself the striker skirmisher combo? In raids, apply bleed. This character's attacks deal an additional 50% damage to any villain enemy. Wow. I like that they kept it original. Moving on to Elektra. Elektra got some health base stat increases of 554%, damage stat of 414%, armor stat by 593%, the focus stat by 594%, and the resist stat by 434%. It's crazy to see how much they have to bring a character up to be meta now. Absolutely insane. The new basic is attack primary target for 250% damage and apply 2 bleed. Gain 1000 extra focus for this attack. Definitely don't need to be a skirmisher. Special into shadow. Attack primary target for 300% piercing and apply 2 vulnerable up to a maximum of 5 and clear 5 positive effects. Man, we might have a lot of strikers. We might just have a lot of strikers because they're putting vulnerables anyway. They don't need the raider to do that. The ultimate is Vital Strike. Clear barrier from the primary target. Very good. In raids, gain 25% damage per negative effect on that target. Attack primary target for 500% damage and 20% piercing and apply disruptor for 2 turns. Wow. And it gains focus. In raids, if the primary target has 3 or more vulnerable, this attack deals double on the damage. On kill, fills speed bar by 80%. Yo, that's crazy. Alright, Elektra's passive is Death's Grace. On spawn, apply evade to self and all adjacent vigilante, shadowland, and hand allies. In raids, generate 5 ability energy for self and all vigilante allies. And on death, 15% chance to revive with 100% of this character's max health. If this character has 4 or more Shadowland Vigilante allies, gain 85% chance to revive on death. So she is always going to revive if she's there. If everyone's there, she's coming back. Very, very, very nice. And please note that the information in this blog is subject to change before going live in the game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below about the Vigilante team and the new raids that actually got announced on the latest Strike Spot video. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. And if you guys want to come and join us on Twitch for the Twitch drops that you guys have been seeing in the blogs, be sure to check out the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will catch all of you guys in the next one.